Yes, yes, yes. Today is the day. Welcome. It's JPL Finals 2025 as the team's getting ready on the warm-up pitch for what promises to be an epic encounter. Welcome to Mount Pleasant FA TV. It's the last day, the most important day. Half of the mission already accomplished, qualified for the CONCACAF Champions League, and now it's time to get your hands on the title as we see the teams getting ready to go here. Shot there of Charlie Metfen, new general manager. Paul Christie is also here. Peter Gould, Amanda Gould in the box here as we get ready for the national anthem of Jamaica. Yes, there you have it, the national anthem of Jamaica, ringing out here in the National Stadium. It's Labor Day, it's super final, and we're just going to go quickly to the starting teams for Cavalier. In goal number 1, Vino Bartlett, Christopher Ainsworth 11, Dwayne Allen number 13, Dwayne Atkinson number 10, Jalmaro Calvin number 7, Richard King number 5, the man Leng is number 6, Jerome McCleary number 27, Jay Ritgers number 25, Shaquille Stain 33, and S. Watson number 4. For Mount Pleasant, it's Tafari Chambers, recently called up to the national team, number 1, Joshua Anglin 17, Kimoni Bailey number 12, Devante Campbell number 7, Franco Celestine 24, Fitzroy Cummins number 4, Daniel Green number 9 comes into the starting 11. Joey Johnson number 10, Sule McCullough number 14, Kyle Ming number 15, and Clifford Thomas number 26. Of course, this is a three-peat of the JPL finals here. So the previous 2 finals, Cavalier would have won last final, the one before in 2023. Mount Pleasant won 2-1 last time right here in the National Stadium. It was a penalty shootout after a 1-all regulation time. Cavalier prevailed 5-4 on penalties, and it's my belief that Mount Pleasant doesn't want the game to go that far this evening. So let's see what will transpire here as we get ready for the start. O'Shane Nation, the referee here in the middle for this final, and it's the tiebreaker here, 1-1 in terms of final victories, and somebody has to win tonight. Somebody has to go home. The loser, as we said, the semi-final may be the most important game because both teams here have already qualified for the CONCACAF Champions Cup, as ball played to, looks to be Anglin, who just boots this one long upfield, trying to get the run there off Captain McCullough, and early throwing here for Mount Pleasant, and lots of noise here. Stands, grandstand filled out nicely, and the bleachers, not a packed stadium, but good crowd. Here is Drew Johnson back to Cummings, comes inside to Thomas, rolls it across to Anglin, who goes to Ming, and Cummings now to Campbell, and so the action continues here. Early goings, just in the first minute of play here, as Campbell tries to get by the man Atkinson there. Referee Nation just chats over to say none of that. So Atkinson will be the danger man, obviously, for Cavalier, and Mount Pleasant will know that they have to keep stock of him. Has been the most impressive player in the playoffs, outfield player. Cavaliers quietly have not conceded much since the playoffs, came in at 5th place, and as we look at the records, no team has finished first and won. So this is something that Mount Pleasant is also trying to correct. 93 points, most goals, most clean sheets, most wins. Just the most impressive team overall, and some people think it's an injustice that it comes down to just one game after the consistency of a whole season. But nonetheless, it's the nature of the competition here. So both teams coming out of tension-filled semi-finals and prevail in the end. Cavalier, of course, the defending champions here, dethroned Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant wants to return the favor and won't do it like that as we restart play. So Rudolph Speed, Cavalier going for their 3rd title in 5 years. Knocks it across now to, looks to be Watson. King over to Ling, goes long, and Atkinson, Calvin now inside, but cut out by Mount Pleasant, but dispossessed again, trying to get Allen going, but throwing the verdict here. So plucky team, this Cavalier unit. Not the most attractive, a wicked counter attack, and at times just unassuming, but good nonetheless, as Campbell now comes over the half line, comes inside under some pressure, but still comes in, and roses across. Looks to be Franco Celestine wants to turn, wanted to shoot one time, and Bartlett had to get a hand to it. So that's the first save of the match. Early intentions made known here by Franco Celestine. He did score in the semi-final, and some consultations here. Not sure, but the corner kick will be taken now. Kimoni Bailey has come across to do so, as we are just about 5 minutes in the encounter. referee nation just having a talk with the players. No argy bargy. Drew Johnson now comes short. Now it's chipped inside. Heads go up. Cavalier head gets to the ball first. Cavalier still trying to clear their lines here. High boot against Ming. Former Cavalier captain Ming would have been on that Cavalier team who won the title last year, and trying to repeat the feat with the opponents here as King comes to Watson. King now inside. Watson back on the ball, trying to tread a pass through. Drew Johnson will take over here, but dispossessed by Cavalier. And Chambers to get what could be his first touch. Call to the national team along with Shaquan Davis, who is on the bench. As Thomas now, one of the new additions. Cavalier employing the high press here and does it successfully now. Here comes Christopher Ainsworth inside the box, goes over, but nothing there. So the high press worked there for Cavalier, who got there before, and force a throw now as Calvin shapes the tape, but Richard King, the captain, steps forward. So tension in the stadium, and you sense, as we said in the prelude, that Mount Pleasant would want to finish this in regulation time. So Green has been charged with the responsibility of getting the goals, as snapshot there by Leng. And Celestine now comes forward. 16-year-old Asian here does well to get by the man, leaves him on his knees, cuts inside now and plays a ball through the middle of the field to Devontae Campbell with room, but took too long to control there. But it's still with Kimoni Bailey. Can he get across inside? Cuts it back to Devontae Campbell. Campbell now plays it across, rolls off the chest of Leng. Crowd asking for a penalty there, and no doubt about who has the larger crowd here. The noise is deafening inside the National Stadium as ball played over now on the left hand side. It's with Devontae Campbell. Plays it inside, but King does well to read and just play it out. So 0-0 the score here. We have just about 10 minutes gone in the encounter. It's the super final. Mount Pleasant searching for title number 2. Cavalier wants to make it 3 titles in 5 years, and they are the defending champions, headed out by Bailey. Head to head, they have all had all results. Mount Pleasant won 1 game, Cavalier won, and they drew. So nothing much between them on the head to head. They have a 1-1 score in terms of final victories. So definitely a tiebreaker here in every sense. And again, they are the Caribbean champions, Cavalier, as ball now comes on, chips inside by Ainsworth, and heads go up, and that should go out. It does. Played Inter Miami here. Cavalier gave a good account of themselves. Close quarters to the likes of Lionel Messi. So can't doubt the quality of this Cavalier team, though probably least fancied as this one comes inside now to Celestino. He's feigning inside, but he can't get it by Cavalier defenders, and booted up by Watson. Played back inside, but Atkinson there couldn't control. Stein the man. And now back to Chambers. Ming. So it was Ming and King at Cavalier, but now Ming is separated from King. And Cummins, bad pass. Here comes Atkinson, bundle off the ball there. And referee nation just, as you see, the camera crew, Sports Max, production teams out. Big final here as Ling ready to take. Boots this one forward, headed out. Mount Pleasant back inside, but handball there. And so lots of tension in the stadium. It is a final, the psychology is different, and good decisions will be important today. Here is Anglin. McCullough comes across to Cummins, plays it forward to Campbell, spots the run of Bailey, who can cross inside, but King just calm, boots it forward. Mount Pleasant will restart through Thomas, comes to Cummins, back outside to Bailey. Bailey now cuts inside and gets by player there. Still Bailey coming inside the box. Bailey now with the ball inside to Campbell, but poor first touch there, and nothing coming of it. So 15 minutes gone. 0-0 the score here inside the National Stadium. It's the JPL Super Finals 2024-25. Bartlett already forced to make one save from Celestine, who scored in the semi-final. Here he is now on the ball. Celestine dips inside but can't get it past Watson, who turns outside and plays it forward to Ainsworth, who just boots this one long now inside, trying to get Atkinson going, but really dangerous on the counter attack, and I'm sure Mount Pleasant will be weary of that as King goes to Bartlett now, and Bartlett comes off the head of Anglin as Drew Johnson now leaves it for him as he comes forward, goes for goal! Bartlett had to go down there, but nobody there to pounce on the rebound before Bartlett could gather on the second attempt. So that's 2 shots on target so far. One from near close range and one from just about 28 yards out. Angling there. Just peppering the hands of Bartlett, but Green wasn't on hand to knock in the rebound. So it stays at 0-0 for the moment. This one now chipped inside and Chambers comfortable there. So Mount Pleasant knocking on the door early. 17 minutes have elapsed. And Ming plays it forward, but Ainsworth will cut it out. Ling goes back to Bartlett. Allen rather was shaped like Ling there, but actually Allen the man who played that one to Bartlett. Now King comes to Ling. Here's Ling. Giovanni Ling here. Comes back to Bartlett. goes outside now to Watson and goes back to the goalkeeper. So no high press from Mount Pleasant, just medium press, wary of the counter attack. So don't want to bring the team so deep, makes them more susceptible to offside space. So you can see the tactics already being employed by both teams. On the other hand, Cavalier, they are pressing high, so pressing in line one as ball comes down to Leng. Back to King. Just want to take this thing out of it. Good ball there by King. The right hand side ball plays across, but not good quality there. Cavalier player. And that looked to be McCleary over there on the right hand side. Wasn't the quality expected, but was a wonderful ball by King to find him on the diagonal there. Comes out now to Cummings. Goes back to Chambers. We come to Kyle Ming. Ming now outside. Goes over the top and angling. Just falling over as Richard King just walks and now plays it to Atkins, who goes back to Allen. Inside to King. King across to the man Leng. Leng couldn't get it to Ainsworth, so McCullough will take the throw here. Green now turns nicely on the line. Still Green, but now Ainsworth puts in a boot. Comes as far as to Calvin. Calvin chips it over the top, headed out by Mount Pleasant. Heads go up again. Ainsworth now, this one is pushed through for Calvin to chase. Under some pressure from Ming. And McCullough again to take. So Celestine and Ainsworth just getting attack into two youngsters. Well, Ainsworth just about 21, Celestine 16, so 5 years is senior. Daniel Parchment, the fourth official here. Nation taking charge of this super final. So after this, it's all about August, where these two teams will bow into action for the CONCACAF tournament. And 39 regular season games. In the case of Cavalier, they would have played 2 quarterfinals, 2 semifinals, and now the finals. So 44 games for Mount Pleasant will be 2 semifinals. And this, so for the 2, as we see Cavalier with their first corner kick here in the 22nd minute of play. Still 0-0 the score. And here is Allen, looks to take now inside at the near post, headed out. So we'll do that again. And here comes the ball now booted inside. Looks to come off the hand of a Cavalier player, but Mount Pleasant still trying to clear the lines. Johnson heads it forward. Now it comes back to Allen over on the left side. Allen now just plays this one inside off the outside of the right boot. Didn't get to anybody. Drew Johnson is possessed, but covered up there by Thomas. Celestine inside to Johnson. So that was a Asian connection. Thomas to Johnson to Celestine. Back to Celestine. Here is Celestine now 1v1 with the captain, but comes inside. Watson slaps him in the chest there. Just left a hand out, Watson. And Nation was alert and on spot. So no shortage of noise here inside the National Stadium as Mount Pleasant tries to break the deadlock early in what has been a cat and mouse game thus far. Mount Pleasant with the early chances, or attempts rather. And Cavalier have withstood thus far. Nothing for Chambers to do yet in goal for Mount Pleasant, but excitement building now here around this free kick. Bailey is there, Daniel Green is there. Bailey left-footed would go direct. Daniel Green right-footed would go for a teammate. So let's see what the decision will be as referee Nation says he's ready. And it's going to be Green to swing this one inside, but the wall intervenes, does its work. Good cementing that wall. This one now, Devontae Campbell off the left boot. Just moved forward, but came back off a Cavalier player. Here's Allen now. Green challenging for it all the time, but Allen does well to stand his ground and win the ball there. Cavalier now break through Calvin. Calvin now outside to Atkinson. Busy for a reason. Comes inside to Stein, but Anglin just gets in the way here. But mix up now, and Calvin recovers. Anglin does the same. Mount Pleasant come away with it as Green now heads this one across to Devontae Campbell, who just eases the pressure. Drew Johnson now wants to come inside, but Bartlett now to King. Ling. Here's looks to be Rick Gans, plays it across to Ainsworth. Chips this over the top, headed out by Mount Pleasant. Angling now. Comes inside to Green. Heavy first touch there and allowed Watson to just come and do well to win the ball. Now it's played over the top by Ainsworth. Ming left it for Stein. Didn't know he was there, and he goes down under the challenge. Protestations here, but Nation alert right there and not interested as Green now. Nation likes the game to play, so you won't get stoppages where it's not needed, as Atkinson rolls this one inside to Watson, comes across to Calvin, who goes outside to Ainsworth, wants to cross one time but stabbed out there by Ming. Ainsworth again, Watson again. Here is ball in, nice played across by Rick Gaz. Heads go up there, and again some half-hearted appeals. So Chambers getting involved, not necessarily a save to make, but had to come and collect because Stein was between the defender and the goalkeeper here, and so not really a cagey affair as the ball now played upfield but out of play. So it's a final but not cagey. Both teams giving as much as they are getting, expressing themselves, trying, pushing the envelope, so to speak. Still room in the National Stadium. Nothing like the last final in terms of crowd, but grandstand field here as this one comes inside to Bartlett. Giovanni Leng, with all the time in the world, comes across to Ainsworth. Ainsworth goes back to Vino Bartlett. And now here is Leng. And Watson. So Watson seems to be rotating. Sometimes he's on the left side, all the way in the fullback position. Sometimes he's on the right side, sometimes through the middle. So as we said, it's a chess game tactically here. Ming was off balance, wasn't ready for that ball from Clifford Thomas, and infringement here. Celestine not being manhandled here. He's been manhandled, so they're not giving him the room and the time he would require. And player down, so treatment imminent. So we get a break from the action here as a Cavalier player was down, and we're getting ready to get back to the action. The man Ainsworth pushed off it there, McCullough. Nothing says referee nation. Thomas will go wide to Bailey, who has to be circumspect with the imminent threat of Atkinson, as Devontae Campbell can't keep that one in play. So interesting game, good watch, especially for the neutral. Obviously you're watching Mount Pleasant FA TV, no neutrality here, but end-to-end stuff, tactical battles, both teams not wanting to make mistakes but still expressing themselves. Ball inside now to Green, plays it back out for Campbell, who is fouled. So complaining all the while, but Nation will not change his mind. McCleary, the man there, called for the infringement. So free kick, regular suspects there, Daniel Green, Kimoni Bailey, and Green is known to have scored from these positions and now is the favorite, as he's the only contender now for the free kick. Will he go directly for goal? Will he set up somebody to head it in? Let's see what will happen here. Green looks to have been heading for goal there, as Campbell now will come back to Cummings, across to Anglin, plays it inside for Clifford Thomas, who plays it now inside to Drew Johnson. Johnson across to Kimoni Bailey. Can he take the shot? No, he wanted to cross, but cut out there by Ritgers. Comes back now to Campbell, who will go all the way back to Bailey, and Mount Pleasant reset. So Anglin rather, comes inside to McCullough, goes further wide to Celestine. Now Anglin wants to go diagonal over the top there, headed inside by Green, but McCullough now went for a pile driver, tame shot in the end, but wouldn't have counted. Offside called by referee Nation. Here is Watson. So now Mount Pleasant changed their press tactics and pressing a bit higher through the two strikers, as Watson again finds himself over on the left hand side and goes all the way across, trying to get it to Leng, who does well to get there. Now he plays this one inside, trying to get Atkinson, but it will go out on the right side for McCleary. Didn't get it, but they got the throw in the end. Leng now way up the pitch here. McCleary now comes across, can't get to Ainsworth before Anglin with the right boot intervenes, and the throwing to Cavalier. We have 35 minutes on the clock here. 0-0 the score, as King now goes diagonal again with this one. And so those diagonal balls seem to be an obvious ploy by the Cavalier team, just to stretch the Mount Pleasant defense and force them not to defend in straight lines, which is easier to play. But no goals in it, but lots of tactical nuance as this one comes all the way back to Bartlett in goal. Has made 2 saves thus far. Chambers, on the other hand, not as busy. Nonetheless, score remains 0-0. Headed out now back to Celestine. Celestine on the ball here. Wants to go up the right hand side, and challenge there. Did he get the ball, Ritgaz? Doesn't seem to have gotten the ball cleanly, but referee just talks to him here. And Nation a no nonsense man, so if the book is necessary, we know he will go into the book. As we started here with Ming, Cummings, Thomas, Ming again, Cummings, Anglin, Campbell, inside, Bailey, trying to get by Leng here, can't do so. So, approaching the 40-minute mark here, 0-0. I think Cavalier would be comfortable with this score line. Mount Pleasant obviously wants to push the envelope here. And Calvin manages to get by Ming. Now outside to Atkinson. Sits on the turf and then trickles off the boot. So, as it said earlier, paying close attention to him is Mount Pleasant, Dwayne Atkinson. They know the danger he poses, and just working hard to ensure he's closely marked and monitored as Campbell heads that out for a throw-in for Leng to take. So all Cavalier players, with the exception of Bartlett, inside the Mount Pleasant half now, as ball is played inside. Chambers collects eventually and wants to go long and gets it to Daniel Green. Good ball from the goalkeeper. Daniel Green 1v1 here with King. King on the back of him, not letting him go out. Now he leaves it for Dewey Johnson, who goes wide to find Campbell, who comes inside now with Anglin. Anglin wanted to, looks as if he wanted Celestine to make the run. Ball seemed to have come off the head of Christopher Ainsworth. Bartlett probably asked him to leave it, but not taking any chances there. And Nation just talking to King in terms of how closely he was attending to Daniel Green there. So Bailey will come across now to take this corner kick as we get close to 45 minutes. Shot of Siobhan Walsh. Nicholas Nelson, Shaquille Dyer. Looks to be Shaw. Raheem Edwards actually with a new hairstyle, getting ready for the warm-up as Johnson now comes short. Back to Bailey. Chips it inside now, goes to the back post. Headed! And off target by Ming. Trying to break the heart of his former employers. But off target there in the end. Just about 3 minutes or so left to the halftime break. And Ritgaz, it seems, comes inside. Watson again is over on this left hand side. Celestine intercepts though and stands well on the ball there, the youngster. And still being hounded by Ritgaz, who falls on top of him. And referee goes the way of Cavalier. Ainsworth now down the left hand side, plays it further out now to Busy Campbell, who has found his way over on this left hand side. Still Busy play this one inside, but Cummins in no uncertain terms just whacks that out of the goal area. Comes back now to Ritgaz. Cut out again. Watson now forcing that ball on the right hand side. Busy now takes over. Chips inside. Still Campbell now, but can't get it past McCullough. No goals here, but lots of intrigue, drama, suspense, and good football. Both teams, as this one is out now to Cummings, back to Bailey. So good representation of Jamaica in the CONCACAF. Good football, good quality here. Mount Pleasant putting pieces together, getting them together as the days go by. Cavalier would have this unit playing over 90 games in 1.5 years, according to their TD. As this one now played, good ball outside. Can he get there, Campbell? Not before. Guess who? McClear this time. And almost said it was Watson, but this time McClear doing the defensive work over on the right hand side. Showing the verdict. Inside now. Anglin Khan. So another free kick over on the far side. So Cavalier, clearly the aggressors here, but haven't been punished. As we head towards the stoppage here. So just the 2 chances early from Mount Pleasant. Everything else has been more outside the goal area. As
it's a super finals moment.
Here is Green lining up now to take this free kick. Referee just giving the instructions as the ball is inside the box. Then he's coming across to sort out the argy-bargy. So here is free kick now, which Green will take. Chips it over the top. Poor. Probably waited too long there. Too much power underneath it, too much. And not the quality we've come to expect from a Daniel Green. But they are human. As this one now played to Watson. Couldn't control there. Allen comes inside now for Celestine. Can he go one time wide? Really should have been going for the back post there. So the decision not correct from Celestine. And just skewed off the boot there, went wide. Probably should have been going for the back post on that occasion. Hasn't gotten much purchase out of the Cavalier defenders as the lights in their full glory here inside the National Stadium. And 0-0 the score line as we approach the halftime whistle. No goals in the encounter, lots of drama, as we said, intrigue. And Allen now dinks this one over the top, trying to get Ritgaz going. So there's a lot of rotational play between Ainsworth, Watson, Ritgaz. King and Leng sometimes all the way up. So the tactics, of course, Devante Campbell, Bailey in particular, and Joshan angling. Lots of rotation as well. As here comes Green now, but couldn't get by with girls. Ball played to Campbell, who has to come back to Cummings. Cummings man of the match from the last semi-final against Montego Bay. McCullough inside to Thomas. Leaves it there for Anglin, who takes a return from McCullough. Goes to Cummings, who will come across to Ming. Ming now goes back to Chambers and rotates to Cummings. Back to Chambers. And now two strikers join the press. But Chambers still wanting to make a decision. Asks them to go long now, so he goes over the top, but King just sends it back inside. Joey Johnson there will take turns. Up away from two defenders, plays it now for Daniel Green, who was pulled to the turf. And Nation says yes. And it's a free kick right on the edge of the box here. So free kick number 5. And this one is the closest and most central. Can Mount Pleasant make this one count? We're on the stroke of half time. On the edge of the box. Free kick. Angling the man looks to be making a case. Daniel Green, the protagonist, the regular protagonist. And Clifford Thomas just in and around the area there. Don't think he'll be the man. But this is a glorious chance from a dead ball opportunity. And Mount Pleasant would want to make this count. Haven't got much in open play. So free kick here provides a good opportunity as they line up to take this one. So still not sure who the taker will be yet. Both Green and Anglin in good shape to take as Green runs over it now. Anglin looks, sets up, chips it, and over the top. Really disappointing here. All the build up, just anticlimactic really. As Anglin just boots it over the top, and Richard King gets attacking to from referee Nation. And Nation just explaining who is the referee. And again, we know Nation, no nonsense referee. King loves to talk. So ball now into the feet of King as booted long. Comes now Leng. So Thomas, Green, Anglin, Green. Good build-up play here, but Green dispossessed there by Atkinson. Doing some defensive work just in the nick of time. Atkinson intercepted there, and now he's going down the right-hand side for a rare foray in this match. So had to do it defensively as fourth official Parchment puts up 1 minute. So a minimum of 1 minute. We're expecting the whistle a long time ago, but I guess the stoppages earlier, which you would have accounted for some of that time. So Mount Pleasant with a promising build-up, but just good defensive work by the attacker Atkinson. And now King goes over the top. Inside, can he get this ball across? But it was headed out by Bailey. And Devante Campbell now manages to get it in play. Does well to keep his balance, get rid of the defender. Here is Campbell now, plays this one inside, but just got out by King, who was alert to the danger. This should be and the referee says half time. So referee Nation just puts a halt to the proceedings here. And at the end of it, Mount Pleasant have huffed and puffed, but Cavaliers' door still closed. So no goals yet in the JPL Super Final here. It's Mount Pleasant 0, defending champions Cavalier 0. We will join you for second half action in 15 minutes. So second half action underway now. In case you're just joining us, it's 0-0 here in the Super Final. We are inside the National Stadium. It's Labor Day. Hopefully you would have done some work today before making the trip here to the stadium, in your community, at home, as Mount Pleasant chasing their second title as Stain goes down in the box there, and nothing. Cavalier, the defending champions, going for their third title in 5 years, having won last year against Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant winning the year before against Cavalier. So they are doing it for the third time in a row here to get the tiebreaker and finals victories. Somebody has to win tonight. And I know the Mount Pleasant faithful watching here would hope that the team in blue will take the honors against a stodgy Cavalier team. Experienced and stubborn as Anglin comes to the middle of the field. Now plays this one for the run of Celestine. Celestine now cuts inside, but Leng recovered well. Good experience from Leng. Celestine thought he got through there, but Leng stood his ground. And really two of the better defenders in the league as well. So a clash of two of arguably the best defensive teams. Portmore up there as well, but Leng and King, Cummings and Ming, you couldn't call a top 5 list of central defenders and not include these 4. So it's really battle of attrition here, and something will have to give. And you suspect that the longer this game goes without a goal, the more comfortable Cavalier will be. They did win on penalties last time around. Mount Pleasant won 2-1 in the fixture 23-24, 22-23. 2 goals from Sule Makala. And Anglin now inside to Johnson, who tries to turn away but couldn't get past Allen and company. That is because he was fouled. He spun away from all 3. Neither him nor the ball went through, and Nation said free kick, which Cummins takes quickly. But nothing coming off that one. So more people filing into the National Stadium. Some empty seats which we saw earlier now occupied over in the bleachers, as Atkinson, Allen, Ritgers, Atkinson now just going down under a challenge here close to Whitmore. And action continues here, and Bailey boots this one outside, so throw to Cavalier. Player off the pitch there, but doesn't require any assistance. Stein, so he'll be ushered back on. And here's Lem. King. Smuff shot there. Booted out by Thomas for Green to chase. Ainsworth is there. Bartlett is there. Bartlett gets there first. King plays it inside. Bailey. Thomas. Free kick. Ball just hit on the referee there, so he allows the restart. Here is Campbell. Turns nicely. Gets by the man Watson, comes inside, but Leng taking no prisoners here. Real aggressive challenge there. Had to get it cleanly, and he did. So came across and just took no prisoners, as they would say. As Kimoni Bailey now searching for options, plays it inside the box to Anglin. Anglin couldn't get Drew Johnson going, and it's booted upfield with Stein. Now plays it forward now for the run of Atkinson. Can Ming get there first? He does. So similar to the Leng challenge, Ming comes over and asserts himself as a defender there. And we're back with Allen inside the midfield here. Twits and turn. Allen does well there to get by Campbell. Plays it inside now to Atkinson, but he couldn't tread the needle. And Clifford Thomas under some pressure there. So busy. Atkinson really living up to the name here. Been all over the park, doing defensive duties, but really stifled in attack by Mount Pleasant. They have done well to contain him thus far, as Chambers sits on the turf for treatment. Here's ball inside. And free kick will go Cavaliers' way. So 0-0 the score here. Just about 10 minutes gone in the second half. No goals in the piece. And two saves out of Bartlett early, but nothing to write home about after that. Mount Pleasant had some free kicks, didn't make use of any of them. And Angling now, as King plays it forward, Chambers collects and boots this one out to Celestine, who cuts inside. Still Celestine. Now it comes to Johnson, leaves it for Anglin. Anglin. And so McCullough to continue here. McCullough would be the only player in the squad who has been here from day one and playing. Of course, Ladale Ritchie now part of the coaching staff. McCullough still playing. And just waiting on referee Nation. They wanted the ball to go back some more. King now boots this one long, headed up, but Kyle Ming will intercept here. And Cavalier no rush really, as Anglin now twisting and turning and only manages to win a throw, deflected off the Cavalier man there. So inside now to Thomas, back to Anglin, and Thomas being marshaled really by Ritgers. Lots of cat and mouse, as we say, tactical stuff going on in this game, as Bailey is with busy, and just the same way that Ritgers seems to be at every step where Thomas is. This one inside now played out, and referee calls back play for a free kick, and McCleary foul there called, and Nation spots the infringement, and already the game shaping up as if it will go longer than 90 minutes, just off what we have seen so far. And I wonder which team would prefer that scenario. My bet it's Cavalier. So let's see how it will turn out. Here is Atkinson now plays this one across, just wide. He got there, he looked to be staying. He did get there. Just trying to spot. And it would have been the captain, Richard King. Wicked free kick at the back post. But it was off target. So Cavalier might be counting that as a chance, as referee just trying to get some information here. And he heads back to King. And that is that. As Ming now plays this one upfield. And here's Anglin now. Mount Pleasant trying to create the first shot. Good move there by Anglin. Plays it inside. Ball let us go down low. Good move from Anglin. Got rid of the defender. But Bartlett was alert to it at the front post. Really a save he should have made nonetheless. But had to make it. And that's save number 3 for Bartlett. And Mount Pleasant just coming down the other end after Cavalier just missed a chance to create their first chance of the second half. Bartlett already looking like a man of the match contender because he has kept out Anglin twice to give his team the clean sheet so far. What will they conjure up here, Mount Pleasant? Bailey now plays this one inside. Comes after it, comes as far as Thomas. Couldn't get it down. Comes to McCullough! And it comes off his one player. Clifford Thomas tries to get it back inside there. Appealing for the handball. But corner kick the verdict. Comes off McCleary there. So, white wall here. Not sure if it's Carib cement, but wall holding up thus far. As Johnson comes now short. But this one goes inside, headed out by Cavalier. Excitement building inside the National Stadium as Celestine tried to play it across for his teammate there, but cut out. Comes back now to Thomas, who plays this one inside. Here is Campbell, but Green himself couldn't control. Campbell now rolls it across for Bailey, but that one is going to go wide. So saw the intention was far. And Mount Pleasant just responding to that scare with a foray of their own, but still 0-0 deadlock, still not broken by either team. As you're watching the JPL Super Finals, the trilogy here. And arguably the two best teams, Cavalier, maybe not looking it coming into, but played a lot of games, well experienced with this format. And Speed always saying it's just to get into the playoffs that really matters. Mount Pleasant, they have motored along and clearing all in their wake. And both teams already, as we said, into the CONCACAF tournament. They would have qualified for this year's tournament from last year. And by virtue of this year's finals, they have also qualified for next year's tournament based on the format. Here's ball inside, but can't control there. That should be a foul. Makala came through the back of Calvin there. Leaves it for King to take. Paid upfield. Headed out there. Comes as far as to Thomas. Inside to Anglin, who turns well. Drew Jackson now plays a ball over on the far side for Celestine to chase. Can he get there? Yes, he does. Celestine now looks inside, goes square pass really, and headed out by Cavalier. Good ball there by Johnson. And now Bailey comes across to Ming. Leaves it for Thomas. Gaz close to him there. And goes back to Chambers. Comes now to Cummings. Substitutes getting ready. Exilus there. Nicholas Nelson, Walsh, Dyer. Chambers across to Ming, who comes forward. Celestine inside. Still Celestine. Now he plays it for the run of Green, but cut out, and Atkinson now it's coming through the middle of the field, plays it over the top. Atkinson, but Ming is there. Chambers will collect. So no challenge there. And here is Cummings now. Goes far side. Angling. Just manages to keep it in play. McCullough couldn't turn away there. And Stein, good ball back to Atkinson coming down now. Bearing down on the defender. Is he fouled? Referee says no. And the Angling will continue. Plays this one now, but too much on it. And Campbell won't get there. Even if he was as tall as Angling. That one, too much purchase on it. And Raheem Edwards done in the new hairstyle here is going to come on, and he's replacing Devontae Campbell. So Daniel Green will move to the left side, and Raheem Edwards, striker, will come through the middle of the pitch here. So So you heard it from the announcer there. 67 minutes gone as Edwards, with his first taste of the action, fouled by King. Just welcome to the game. And Thomas now goes to Cummings. So just changing the dimension. Same system but different personnel. Edwards 19 goals as this one comes over the top, and here is Cavalier now. Watson. King. And King and Leng have had a lot of touches off the ball. Just an indication of where most of the game has been played for Cavalier. Bad pass there as Green now throws this one downfield and comes back to Allen. And here is Wickens now chips this one inside, looks for Stein. Here comes Calvin, takes over, but dispossessed by Ming. And throwing deep for Cavalier, just at the corner flag. Could be a long throw if King is the man. But Allen seems to be tasked with that responsibility. So does so now. Throws it inside, headed up, and cleared in time. King is there, Celestine. So crowd not as noisy now, because nothing really happening in terms of goal mouth action. KG now was more expressive in the first half, but this is a final, friends, and the JPL Super Finals. Two teams, they have been here. They have both literally been here in the last two and trying to make a trilogy of this one. And Pleasant, the protagonist in both finals. McCullough scoring 2 goals at Sabina Park. Colin Anderson replied, wasn't enough. Last year King came up with the response. It went to penalties. Nicholas Hamilton scoring the decisive penalty in that shootout. No Nicholas Hamilton here tonight since joined Waterhouse. So lots of personnel changes for both teams in terms of who would have been in the final here, and Chambers lost it, but referee obliged. Goalkeeper protected species, and as such free kick, as we have 72 minutes gone in the final here. No goals yet to report, and Mount Pleasant making the first move tactically in terms of substitution, and waiting to see what the result of that will be. Thomas now high boot there from Stain. Referee plays the advantage, comes inside to Green. Green turns nicely, but played out there by looks to be McCleary. Now Johnson back to Bailey. Johnson turns, still Johnson on the ball. Pushed to the turf there by Watson. And throwing. The verdict. So here comes the ball now played over the top. Thomas. Green dinks it over the top now. 2 Mount Pleasant players to chase, but Bartlett off his line here. Still off his line, but King does well. And Cummins. Kyle Ming. Celestine. Angling. Gets it inside. Bartlett comes, collects. Rolls it out now to Allen. Here is Busy Atkinson. Plays this one. Good ball there. Gets it between the two defenders for Calvin to chase. Calvin now over on the left side. Only wants one chance. Here is Atkinson now turns. Chips it over the top. Trying to get Stein going. But it comes only inside to Anglin, who goes back to Bailey. Bailey now will search. And can't get Edwards, who pulls Stein to the floor. Dewey Johnson now can make a decisive pass. Good ball to Edwards. Edwards to shoot with the boot. Nina Bartlett comes up with another save. He went back post, but Bartlett took out a leg to deny the striker there. New Year style wanted to score, but I told you Bartlett already with a man of the match performance. Couldn't get there with the hands. Stuck out the left boot. That was enough to deny what looked to be a goal. So he takes a breather now. He deserves it. Continue the action here in the 77th minute. King to restart for Cavalier and goes long. Headed inside here. Looks to be a handball, but referee allows play to continue. Bailey now will have to shield. Atkinson is there. Does well to rob him of possession. Goes down in the box. The crowd is calling. Nation says nothing. Not enough. And here is Green now. Gets away from King. Green inside now. Inside the box. Can he play it across? King recovered well and celebrates as if he had scored a goal there. Green got behind him, but couldn't get a shot off or a cross before King could recover. And he punches the ear. King. So penalty shot there. Nation wasn't interested. And now corner kick at the other end. So here is Daniel Green to take. Plays this one inside. Heads go up. And goal kick. So no goals yet. And anxiety building here inside the stadium. 78 minutes gone in the encounter. 0-0 the score. Again, the last final went all the way to penalties. Only difference that we had goals in regulation time. And Cavalier maybe would be most comfortable with a penalty situation, but I'm sure both teams would have prepared for all scenarios. So let's see how it will unfold here. Leng goes. McCleary and a foul. So good atmosphere in the stadium. The Drums are beating a good addition to the league. Since this season, most of the games have had this sort of atmosphere where there's noise in the stands, there's drums playing, the dancing ladies, the entertainment factor, just building up the Premier League as an event, an entertainment event, more than just a match. As Celestine, can he keep it in play? He does. Comes inside now, can he get a pass across now, chips it, but dispossessed there. And Bailey leaves it. Thomas trying to chase, but cut out now, comes as far as Dewey Johnson, plays it across. McCullough comes back to Anglin, back to McCullough. McCullough across to Bailey, leaves it for Thomas, who rolls it back to Bailey. Bailey now can go inside, finds Daniel Green, who wants to line up the shot, and he had to tip it over the bar. How many saves will this goalkeeper make tonight? I have counted 5. And this bar is the difference between a 5-0 lead for Mount Pleasant and a 0-0 draw here, which is happening at the National Stadium. Bartlett again denying Mount Pleasant. Was in the zone, to be honest, but he had to make the save nonetheless. And here is a ball now played inside. And scuffed clearance there by Allen. Comes as far as to Green. Green goes square pass to Thomas. Inside now to McCullough, who didn't control well. Really poor first touch there. Allow the defenders to recover. Anglin now will chip it inside the box. Headed out spectacularly there. And here comes ball inside by Bailey to no one in particular. Bailey wanted to play the dummy, didn't work. McCullough now rolls this one for the run of Edwards! Went over the bar this time! Should have gone low! But too much under it. That was a chance, folks. That was a chance. Bartlett was out of it completely. Came to put some pressure, but Edwards needed a better touch. So, my Cavalier showing some signs of cracking here. Bad pass by King, but poor pass by Thomas, just easing the pressure here. So, Speed just asking them to calm down. Cavalier team just asking them to calm down as we approach 83 minutes here. 7 minutes plus stoppages before we have to go to extra time, as Thomas now plays this one to Edwards, who's been threatening since coming in. Green now down this left hand side, still Green. Cuts in from the 2 players, but cut out there. McCleary now will roll this one inside, trying to get Atkinson going. Actually Calvin there comes to Ritgaz. Ritgaz now coming inside, plays it outside for Atkinson, who trips it one inside for Calvin. Looks to have come off the hand, and now a corner kick is the verdict here. So Cavalier going the other end and manufacturing a corner here. Ease some of the pressure from the next side. And free kick again, corner. Ainsworth to take. So chips inside, Chambers collects. So comfortable for the goalkeeper there as he bowls it out for Anglin to chase. So Mount Pleasant want to up the tempo, pushing the envelope here, so to speak. Wants to get a goal before extra time. Had a glorious opportunity with Edwards, he didn't take it. And pressing and pressing and pressing. And Cavalier weathered what was thrown at them so far. Here is Thomas. Not seeing Ritgaz for probably the first time in the game. And tactics may have changed again as Ritgaz now closer to Anglin. And Allen turns well outside, trying to get Atkinson going. Still Atkinson on the ball and knocks it back to McCleary. Comes out to busy Atkinson, but cut out now, but back. Ritgaz now will play this one, but Chambers will control for Mount Pleasant. 85 minutes gone. 0-0 the score here. And that's an important piece of information. No goals after 85 minutes. So Green takes the throw quickly. Here is Bailey. Just cuts inside the man there skillfully, but Celestine had to go back for it and tangled up with the defender. Wasn't intentional, but foul nonetheless. Ainsworth saying no. And no yellow cards in the piece yet. So it's been intense. Lots of fouls, but nothing malicious or violent. And Clifford Thomas tasked with the job of handling this free kick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've counted so far. Mount Pleasant players in the box. So crowd calling for a goal here. And now would be a good time to score a goal for any team. So what can Thomas come up with here? Chips it over, comes inside, headed out by Cavalier. Good defending there as Atkinson now pushes it forward and goes on one of those mazy runs. But Mount Pleasant recover well. Angling now. Plays this one cut out in the nick of time. Looked to have been offside though. As Stein now is coming upfield. Still Stein plays it over to King, who is all the way on the right hand side in attack. Cut out now. Can they capitalize on that, Mount Pleasant? And here is Kivoni Bailey now, who goes long and diagonal, maybe sensing that King is not there. But Ming now, Leng rather, will clear. Comes as far as to Thomas, under some pressure, but boots long and played out. Really a wild clearance there under no pressure. So Mount Pleasant suddenly with some urgency, sensing that the game is going the way Cavalier would want it, and the ball went out from Raheem Edwards there, and it's going to be interesting. So Leng plays it inside, headed out by Allen. Allen just quiet game, but has stuck to his zone really. King plays it out and infringement spotted here. So we have 88 minutes gone on the clock. Waiting for the time to be added. But you sense that the longer this game goes, the more it will favor Cavalier. But they have stood up. Mount Pleasant really have thrown a lot at them thus far. But just no breakthrough yet for the men in blue. Can they get something here? As Bailey now plays inside the box, goes far post. Bartlett does well, collects and releases same time. Ball played out by Ainsworth now for Stein to chase, who plays it upfield for Calvin, and tackled up there by Cummins. Good clean tackle. So does what is necessary when it called upon, and now ball inside. So both defenses have done well. And Stein, here comes Allen now inside to King, who seems to have moved into attacking. Busy Atkinson didn't take the shot. I was almost about to say a shot comes inside. Slid in there, the striker. But just missed the ball as Ainsworth now will play this one back inside and McCullough will clear. So pressure coming from both ways as Celestine now can make a run. Cuts inside, the defender does well. The man Celestine cuts a ball now, and here is Daniel Green. Green leaves it for Edwards. Edwards now pushing forward. Still Edwards, and that could be the first yellow card of the game. It is. He had to make the foul. And I think he will take that. Because Edwards was bearing down on goal. Had to grab what was left of him. And on the stroke of full time, Mount Pleasant with a free kick. 23 yards from goal. And as you heard from the announcer here, minimum of 3 minutes to be added. So, no better time to score a goal than now. Can they do it? Can they do it? Can they do it? Daniel Green there. Joshua Anglin there. Referee gives the instruction. Makala is there. Edwards is there. Celestine is there. Ming is there. Here is Green. Goes for goal. And probably should have involved his players there. So the free kicks have been poor. And Mount Pleasant have had opportunities from the dead ball, but none taken. And with 3 minutes left for full time, looks as if we are heading for extra time here. That would have been the chance, but not taken. And there it is, full time inside the National Stadium. So after 90 minutes in the JPL Super Finals, it's Cavalier 0, Mount Pleasant 0, and we will have to go to extra time. So 30 more minutes here, folks, to decide who will be the JPL champions 24-25. So after 90 minutes here, it's Mount Pleasant 0, Cavalier 0. We look forward to extra time. Nicholas Nelson. Excelos on. Nelson on. Franco Celestine is off. Dewey Johnson off. As Mount Pleasant again pushing the envelope now. And Thomas now inside to Anglin. Anglin sprays this one long for the runoff. Nelson, who just joined the fray for extra time here. So 2 strikers now. As Leng, Watson, goes long. And just played over the top here, and Chambers will collect. So as the fans are speaking here, don't want to get to penalties. Penalties is anybody's game really, and truth be told, Mount Pleasant would have had enough opportunities to have finished this one in full time, but for Vino Bartlett, as Anglin now drives through the middle and now lines up the shot, but no deflection there, so that's a goal kick, just wide. And probably trying too hard, wanting to make a difference, eager to get his hands on the trophy again. Did win with Harborview 22-23 or 21-22. Cavalier would have won 20-21. Here is Bartlett now. live table, Bartlett would be man of the match by a distance. But can a Mount Pleasant player come up with the goods here to make it interesting for the Centre team? Back to Bartlett from Richard King, and now all the way back to Cummings, who finds Green, comes out to Bailey, who goes further wide for Nelson to chase, but he can't get there. And just about 3 minutes gone in this first 15 minutes. So we play 15 minutes. We are in extra time now. For those who may be just joining the action here, we're at the National Stadium. It's a JPL Final, and no goals in the encounter thus far. 90 minutes have gone, no goals, so we are in extra time, searching for the first goal of the match. Not even a disallowed goal, friends. Bartlett has been good, 5 saves. Chambers didn't have much to do. Cavalier did get a few sniffs, especially in the second half at the back post, Richard King, but nothing coming off it. Here is Thomas inside to Green. Green now will win a throw as Bailey prepares to take. Here is Anglin. Anglin does well to get by the defender. Can he get a good cross inside? No! Good defending there. Couldn't get the cross inside. As Mount Pleasant line up another corner. 7 minutes gone. Corner kick now. Played inside by Green, and Bartlett just feels the challenge, and referee sees the challenge and intervenes with the whistle here. As we said, the goalkeepers, they are endangered species, protected. So any contact inside the box, goalkeepers will be favored by the officials, as King boots it upfield. Comes now to Anglin. Green helps it on to Nelson. Nelson inside. Still Nelson now coming forward. Comes across to Bailey. Bailey can get it across, but went for the glory. Bad decision. Bad decision. A tight angle to score from there, Bailey. And with 4 players coming into the box, decision making is what is key right now. And suffice it to say, that was a poor decision from the left footer here, as Anglin. King now just boots this one upfield. So Cavalier just content with helping it up the field and allowing Mount Pleasant to defend. Thomas comes through the middle. Exilus, with what is his first taste of action, plays this one outside for the run of Nelson. Still Nelson on it now. Feigns to come inside, finds Anglin on the edge of the box, being pushed all the while. Comes to Edwards, comes back to Daniel Green. Shouldn't have taken that first touch. That was all King needed to intervene. Shouldn't have taken the first touch there. Not his best game in a Mount Pleasant shirt, Green. As this one now, Nelson wanted to just play the cheeky ball back to his teammate. As this one comes across now, Stein couldn't control it. It was a good ball on the counter, but Stein couldn't get the first touch to put him in front of the defenders. Here is Atkinson now. So Cavalier soaking up the pressure, still trying to counter. Ritgers now back to Atkinson, but he can't find the pass. So decision making is key in this moment. And who makes the right decisions could end up on the winning end tonight as Green scuffs a pass. Just a hopeful ball there. Comes as far as to angling now. As we are gone 10 minutes into the first half of extra time. Here's Exelos now inside to angling, but angling just gives it to Ritgaz. Ritgaz gives it back to Mount Pleasant. And here is Tafari Chambers, who now chips this one over the top to the man Clifford and throwing to Mount Pleasant. So 5 minutes left in the first half of extra time here. 0-0 still the score. Mount Pleasant been asking questions but not coming up with the right solutions. And Cavalier seems just comfortable to defend. The defending champions, as here is Kimoni Bailey now just trying to position the players as he throws this one inside, comes off the chest of Edwards, given back to him by Atkinson, comes inside, Leng anywhere will do at this point. Here is angling now, will chip this one over for Exelos to chase, but Ainsworth heads it and Bartlett comes, collides with his teammate, and another stoppage. And some argy-bargy here. Some argy-bargy here, pushing and shoving, and referee in the midst. And couldn't be a final without some drama. Not getting the goals, so might as well. So just some pushing and shoving. Referee intervened, lost his whistle in the process. And Nation experienced enough to deal with this situation, as King still being restrained here. And referee just, the assistant did well to come all the way down to, so referee now will call the two players involved, and it's gonna be Allen, King, Nelson, and referee just asks them to stay there while he goes over to see what's happening with Bartlett. And so card to Allen, card to Nelson, and card to King, and that should settle them down for the rest of this game, because they know any other such occurrence would mean the end of the finals for them. So Nation using all of his experience here to just settle the nerves of all those involved. But it's a final, and we expect some drama as Cavalier line up a substitution here. Number 20 is it Chad James to come on. Actually, that's Jamai Dennis getting ready to come on. So this one played up front. Here is Busy Antics now with a foray inside the box, but he cut. Just a decision again. The decision making so important in these critical moments. Comes as far as now to Calvin. Calvin chips it over, headed out by Mount Pleasant for a corner. So Atkinson got behind the defense. Rare occasion. Tried to cut inside first to unleash the shot, but defender recovered in time. And still no clear indication of who the winner is going to be in this one, as substitution Jamai Dennis to come on, and number 33 is coming out. So Jamai Dennis, number 20, is on, and Shaquille Stain will leave the park here as Dennis makes his way onto the pitch here. So Clifford Thomas doing marking duties. Chip inside, headed out again. Corner kick. King now turns. King tries to cross it inside McCullough. Can they make use of this counter attack now? Exlos coming down. It's 3v3. Here is Exlos. Cuts inside, moves away from two players, gets it across to the man Edwards. Edwards plays it outside to Anglin. Anglin now to Bailey. Bailey coming through the middle of the pitch. Still Bailey, but loses out. But Nelson will recover. Bailey easy onside. Plays it across. Desperate defending here. Desperate defending here by Cavalier. Defending for all their life here. And corner kick the verdict. Corner number 9 here for Mount Pleasant. Here is Daniel Green to take this corner kick as we are 16 minutes into, and it's headed over the top. Ming couldn't get over it, and that should be close to that in terms of the first half of extra time, because we have 17 minutes. Of course, there were some stoppages, some skirmishes, but Chambers having nothing to do, but his strikers not giving him the lead here. And 0-0 still with 15 minutes to go before the dreaded penalties headed out there. And both teams, it will get even more cagey, my friends, as the days and the minutes tick on. Not the days, but the minutes. Because any goal now could hand the scoring team the Premier League title. As here is Dennis now with his first bit of action. Big and bulky, but challenged there by Kimoni Bailey, and throwing the verdict to Mount Pleasant. So Bailey stays on the turf, still feigning that injury. And so good sportsmanship here, busy, and that's it. We did indicate that it was 15 minutes. So 15 minutes to go. No goals yet. So 105 minutes in this, and still no goals. And my mind tells me that we are going to penalties. But let's see what will happen in the second half of extra time. So Nelson gets us on the way here for the second stanza. And this one comes off Atkinson there. So just a nervy moment. Rear. As a matter of fact, that's the first indiscretion from Cummings all game, as Anglin now takes over here, but that one runs out for a throw-in and player down on the ground. I will tell you that a penalty is a lottery. And Mount Pleasant, who are the protagonists here, who are pushing the envelope, will have to find a goal in 14 minutes or so if they want to avoid the lottery of the penalties. So let's see, as a player down and being treated, seems to require special attention as they're checking heart rates and so on, oxygen there. So special medical team there as they're stabilizing the player with oxygen, and doctors sure time medical team there. So looks to be something concerning, required expert medical attention more than just the bench, and seems to be under control here. And he's now on the stretcher. And so, not a sight for anyone to see or wants to see, but he's been taken straight out of the ground. So obviously, he won't continue here. Going to the ambulance, Busy Atkinson. So they will have to do it out their most influential player here, and really seems to be struggling, but short time medical team here as the action continues on the pitch. Atkinson seems to be heading for the hospital. Some cardiac related respiratory issue, but sure the short time team has this one under control as they move quickly. And Adrian Reed Jr. comes in for Busy Atkinson as the medical team gets a thumbs up here, and he gets up, but the medical team ask him to get back down as ball headed out now. So good sign before leaving that he has been revived, and the ball now inside pushed off there. And so back to the football action. Busy Atkinson replaced by Adrian Reed Jr. as the medical situation took center stage there. And Mount Pleasant first real defending duties in this extra time. What can Cavalier come up with here? Reed Jr. now boots this one long upfield, heads go up, comes to the back post to King, who plays it back inside, trying to get James. And so Atkinson, obviously their most influential player in attack, not there. Can they still pull it off here? Cavalier. Mount Pleasant really wants to press home disadvantage. Here's ball headed inside, but Allen speculative and off target. So nobody leaving here, but tension mounting. I think most of us who have followed this sport long enough realize where this is heading. And is it Déjà vu? Is it Déjà vu? Here is Richard King. Kyle Ming rather to Richard King. Bartlett now will take over and just rolls on it. As take some time off the clock here and rolls it now to Richard King, who comes inside and plays a pass cut out by Thomas. Exilus back to Thomas, inside now to Anglin. Driving through the middle of the field. Anglin comes as far as to Green. Green does not so well because he's dispossessed by McCleary there. And here is Bailey to take the throw inside. Green controls, can't get by James. Here's so just stoppages and breaks in play personifies the second half so far of extra time. Yes, folks, we are in the second stanza of extra time because there are no goals in the match. So this final has at least 120 minutes will be played to decide who the winner is, as the Cavalier player goes down inside the center circle here. So here is King now. So we'll have some time for stoppages. We have 5 minutes to play plus any stoppages, and we are sure that some stoppage time will be added based on the injury to Busy Atkinson. And hurled forward there by Bailey, but headed out. And throwing taken now, Bailey again. Boots this one long upfield, heads go up but headed out. Infringement, says referee. So again, just breaking the momentum here. Mount Pleasant can't get to go forward, as we get a shot of the crowd here and the dancing ladies, and not so lively. The ladies maybe wanted a goal in this fixture, as this one now headed out by Mount Pleasant. Truth be told, they haven't had much to do in defense, but it's the attackers that left the boot at home, as this one now plays up the line. That should be a card again. That should be a card. Nelson was gone, but Ainsworth pulled him back there. Not sure what Reed Jr. is protesting. That has to be a card, and Ainsworth knows it. So with 3 minutes left plus stoppages, Mount Pleasant will have to do it now if they are to avoid the penalty kicks. And McCullough is there. Wouldn't he want to etch his name in another story? Angling the man now to step up and take this one. And the wall being positioned as angling now steps up to put this one inside. 6 Mount Pleasant players in the box, as angling now chips it over, comes to the back post, and Bartlett just helps it over. Was going in, and Bartlett again with save number 6. And it doesn't seem as if there's anything that can get past Bartlett tonight. He has come to this final an inspired goalkeeper. Truth be told, with the exception of the one he saved with the leg, most of them have been where the goalkeeper is comfortable, but he still had to make the saves. We have seen those gone in. So he's been good today. Really has been the difference, as the subs urging on their teammates here, as this one comes inside. Nicholas Benson off the post! Glancing header off the upright there. My. Can't beat Bartlett, and this time couldn't get it past the upright. Glancing header there by Nelson, and the stroke of full time. And I wonder if this is Mount Pleasant's day. They continue, they roll on, they press on. 2 players being lined up to come in now, certainly in anticipation of penalty kicks. Would have speed. So number 30, Gooden, makes his way onto the field, and 19, Chad James, will also come on. So Calvin off for James. And so Just a few seconds left here. As Chambers now boots this one long upfield. And Raheem Edwards can't get there. Ball comes across, but obviously those are penalty substitutions. Reed Jr., Chad James, Gooden. And Speed just asking everybody to go back there. And we seem to be heading for penalties. That chance, Nelson. Probably the most difficult of all the chances, because he had to sneak in past Bartlett, who has been good. And wonder what Mount Pleasant will have to do to score here tonight. As cleared out now. By no means outplayed, by no means been dominated, by no means starved of chances, but just has not had the right connection as we head into 3 minutes. So it's 3 minutes away from the penalty shootout here, my friends. It's 3 minutes away as Shaquan Davis now being lined up to come in. So obviously another penalty decision here. So Davis will be asked to come in goal to try and see out the penalty shootout. Maybe a better penalty save shot stopper. So Mount Pleasant themselves preparing for the penalties as Bailey now chips this one inside and Bartlett is going to go to ground. So no qualms about what Cavalier want. No qualms here. And with the clock winding down, we have it just about 50 seconds left in stoppage time. So substitution to be made as well. Davis not yet on. So here is Adrian Reed. Plays it out for James and tackled up there by Kimoni Bailey. Still asking the crowd to get in it as the substitution is going to be made now. Shaquan Davis will come in for the penalty kicks, obviously. And Tafari Chambers did keep a clean sheet, did his job today, but nothing from the next end as Davis now takes his place in goal. He was there last season. And so Davis now with his first action, which should be the last of extra time, boots this one long, high upfield, headed out by Cavalier. Ming is there, Gooden is there, and here is Ming now. Just seems like there is resignation of the fact that we are going to penalties here. Chipped inside and Davis collects and gets up quickly and bowls it out. And that is it, my friends. 120 minutes. No goals. We are going to penalties in a few. So once again, penalties will decide the champions of the Jamaica Premier League. And it's anybody's game now, my friends. So Cavalier clearly ready. And now Mount Pleasant. So is it deja vu here? Or will Mount Pleasant turn the tables and get title number 2? So drama. So Peter Gould here, stepping back into the royal box at the stadium for, can't be an easy feeling right now. So Richard King is stepping up to take the first penalty here for Cavalier. So Bartlett with 7 saves in the match. Davis will have to make his saves in the penalty shootout. That was what he was brought on for. And he's up first to face the Cavalier captain Richard King, who's been waiting. King scored a last-minute penalty in the last encounter between the two teams at the Edward Seaga Sports Complex to give Cavalier a 2-1 lead and a victory. But this could contribute to a championship. Here is King scores. So Cavalier take the first, draw first blood here and take the ascendancy, and King making a menace of himself. So Raheem Edwards steps up to take the first penalty for Mount Pleasant. So it's 1-0 in favor of Cavalier here. And tension. Bartlett here now. Here is Edwards. Will Bartlett be beaten for the first time tonight? Edwards steps up, scores. So 1-1 on penalties here. Bartlett finally beaten from 12 yards this time. And 1-1. So Ainsworth the man now. Normally before King started would be the regular penalty kick taker for Cavalier, Ainsworth. And normally a reliable penalty kick taker, and Nation looks to be issuing the yellow card to Davis for his antics here. Probably the first I've seen a yellow card in a shootout. But mind games here as Davis now. I wonder if he does it again, who will go in the goal. So Ainsworth now to take. Here comes Ainsworth, steps up and over the top. He misses. Not sure if the yellow card played into that, but he can't believe he's still standing at the spot. And now Allen will come for him. He misses. My. Nicholas Nelson now can give Mount Pleasant a 2-1 lead in the shootout here. As Ainsworth, normally a safe pick for the penalty, but he booted his effort over the top. And Bartlett now steering down Nelson. So Nelson now to step up and take. Here is Nelson. Scores! So Mount Pleasant lead now by 2-1 in the shootout. And all they need to do is score all their remaining penalties. And they will win the Premier League here. But this is a penalty shootout. Drama. So Adrian Reed steps up now to take his penalty. Adrian Reed scores. 2-2. So Davis hasn't managed to save any. But Mount Pleasant can edge ahead again. And next seeker here, Joshan Anglin to keep the pressure on Cavalier here. This is penalty shootout. Their nerves, something has to give, as you saw with Ainsworth. Anglin now to make it 3-2 in favor of Mount Pleasant. Here is Anglin. Easy as you like. Just rolls it into the back of the net to put Mount Pleasant up 3-2. And perfect from the spot so far, Mount Pleasant. One blemish for Cavalier. And Nation just asking Davis to get on with it. Chad James was substituted obviously for this, so must be one of their penalty specialists here. So Chad James now, perfect penalty, unsavable there, and just the reason why he was substituted on. Top corner there. And 3-3 now. So Mount Pleasant are 2 penalty kicks away from the title here. If they score these 2, they are the champions. And tension still building here. Pressure on every kicker. And this is Captain Sule Makala to make it 4-3. Here is Makala. He misses! He goes the same route like Ainsworth. Makala misses. And now we are level. 1 miss each. Captain, normally reliable. Missed from the spot last time. And goes over the top here. So, we did tell you about the drama of the penalty shootout. It's whose nerves will hold best. So, 3-3 here. 4 now. As good. Slams it past Davis. And Mount Pleasant have to score here. They have to score. Daniel Green, the man, must score to keep Mount Pleasant in it, or it will be deja vu. Last year, Cavalier was perfect from the spot. Ainsworth missed this time. But McCullough also missed to bring it back. So it's 4-3 in favor of Cavalier. Here is Daniel Green to force it into sudden death. Here is Green now to step up. Green steps up. Yes! So, all square after 5 penalties. And now we are into sudden death, which means that the first team which scores, if the next team misses, that team will be the winner. So it's 4-4. Sudden death here. And Leng, the man, stepping up to Leng now stepping up to take the first kick of sudden death. Here is Giovanni Leng, steps up and gets it in the roof of the net. Unsavable here. So 5-4. Cavalier lead. Cummings now in sudden death here. And who will break? Who will break? Who will break? Who will break? Drama, drama, drama. Cummings must score here. Our Cavalier are champions. Who will break? Here is Cummings now to step up. Scores! And Bartlett was close. But not close enough. So after 2 penalties in sudden death, it's still all square. 5-5 here. What a game here. Cummings on the score sheet in the penalty shootout here. And oh, how the team would love a save from Davis. And this is Ritgers to take penalty number 7 for Cavalier. Ritgers steps up, and Davis couldn't find a save there, and Ritgers gets it in. So Cavalier edge ahead, 6-5. And here comes Clifford Thomas, the man out of Haiti, who scored the decisive goal in the semi-final versus Montego Bay. Needs to score here to keep Mount Pleasant in it. Here is Clifford Thomas, steps up. Bartlett saves it! Cavalier are champions! Déjà vu in Kingston, Jamaica. Cavalier are the champions of the Premier League, the Real Neville Premier League 2024-25. 6-5 on penalties. And Vino Bartlett, who is clearly the man of the match here, pushed that ball onto the post. And it's déjà vu in Kingston, Jamaica. Cavalier retain their championship. Mount Pleasant have lost 6-5 on penalties. And that's all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody had to cry. Somebody had to cry. And unfortunately for Mount Pleasant, they are the ones crying tonight, because Cavalier have won again on penalties. Disappointment on the face of the Mount Pleasant faithful. Jubilation in some sections of the stands as the Mount Pleasant fans roll out of the stadium. Half of the mission accomplished. into the CONCACAF, but they really wanted to get their hold on a second title here. Couldn't breach the Cavalier defense during full and extra time. Came to the penalty kicks. And just as it happened last season, they lost out on penalties again.